My name is Luis Rojas. I'm a Palatine. I've been in for 34 years as a Palatine. I'm only ordained. Uh, it's going to be 7 years, April 22nd, 21st. I was ordained here in St. Pius Parish. Right now I'm working in Baltimore, the Archdiocese of Baltimore, in the Little Italy. Prior to that, I was working in South Jersey, and then prior to that, I was in the missions in Chihuahua, Mexico, in Guadalupe Calvo, and that's where my ordination came from. About the calling, how I was called from the very first time that I remember was when I was very young child. One time, I come from Colombia, Bogota. My aunt Rose took me on my first train ride, and we got to this one village, and it was all with the fog in. But in front of every house there was fires, and you could see the redness through the white fog, and the people were praying the rosary. I didn't know exactly what it was because I was too young, and I asked my aunt what they were doing, and she said they were praying to convert Russia. And I said, well, I would like to do that. So that's my first memory of that. Then, a number of years later, I met in Bogota still, where I lived. I will see my parish priest, a Franciscan, every morning, come down from the monastery, go down to our local parish church. 4 times a day he did that trip. And that intrigued me, and I always said, gee, I like to do that. And then one time, right around Easter time, I guess, I went there to the church, and I met the priest was putting the statues up, and he was putting up the statue of our Lord, the risen Christ, and he was on top of a table with a chair, trying to put the statue back up in its place. When the chair moved, and he almost fell, and here I am, a little kid, trying to hold him up, and the statue kind of like hit him on the shoulder, and it looked at me, and I feel that was also a connection there. The face of Christ in the statue kind of like spoke to me, and ever since then I always say I want to be a priest. Then I came to the States, and I joined in those days they had those little clubs for vocation clubs, and I joined the club for that. And I was active in my parish a little bit with that, and then I wrote to 5 different groups. The Palatines was one of the groups that responded right away, and so I got in touch with them. I participated in retreats, days of recollections, talks about what the Palatines are, what St. Vincent vision was, and their apostolate. And I just kept going with them, and here I am. I'm still with them. Like I said, 34 years I've been with the Palatines. 25 of those years I was with them as a brother. When I first entered, the priests that were in charge, they said, well, you can't, you should be a brother rather than a priest. So I went along with what they said, because my goal was not so much as the priesthood or anything like that, but to serve in the church, within the structure of the church. And so I did that. Then when I went to the missions, or even before going to the missions, I found myself a lot of times in situations where we needed a priest. When I was given a day of recollection, I always had to make sure we had a priest come in to hear the confessions and through those kind of celebrate the Mass. And that always bothered me a little bit, that why I couldn't do that. And that's how I went to the missions as a brother. And in the missions, I was acting, working as a priest outside of consecration and absolution of sin. And when after 3 years there, the people began to ask the bishop down there, Bishop Corral, Jose Andres, why wouldn't he ordain me, since they needed a priest there. We had 2 older priests and they didn't go down to the villages. So they kept asking him, and finally the occasion came where my provincial and my general from Rome and the bishop were there together, and the people told me to ask him, and I said, no, I'm not asking. You ask if you want me to be a priest. And they asked, and the bishop said, well, ask his superiors. And they said, well, we'll think about it. And 2 years later, that was in 95, then 2 years later, I finally got approved and got ordained. So that's basically the story of how I got to this point, working now as a priest. I enjoy it. I'm happy with it. I feel that this is what the Lord called me to be, at least 80% of the time. There are times when I feel like, forget it, give this up. It's too much for me. But 80% of the time, I feel that what I'm doing is what the Lord wants me to do. Right now, I'm discerning to come back to this part of the States to work for a while in the mixed bilingual parishes, other than working in the East in a non-Spanish atmosphere. So this is the story from Bogota to New York to Chihuahua to Baltimore and back this area again. So that's my journey in a short. I will say, go with an open mind. When I went in 1970, I went in with, well, if this is what's for me, I will be okay. I will enjoy it. I will be happy here. If it's not for me, the door opens and I could leave. I'm not stuck, and that's what I mean by open-minded. Don't close your options. If you feel that God is calling you to the ministry of the ordained minister or the religious life, go try it out. You're not going to know until you go there and see if that's really for you. And if it's for you, you're gonna feel that inner peace that I was talking about. That 80% of my time, I feel I'm where I should be, because that's that inner peace that I feel. So try it out. Don't just hesitate and not take the chance. Take a chance, because that's the only way you're going to know if this is for you or not.